All right, guys, Jump On It is a 16-minute AMRAP of a 1,000 meter row, 20 box jumps, and 10 pull ups. All right, the ideal intensity is going to be our push zone or around 70 to 80%, maybe up to 85% of our max heart rate. This workout is a really interesting time domain because it's not super short, right? We're not looking at like anything less than 10 minutes. And it's not what would consider to be very long either, right? It's not 20 minutes plus kind of sitting right in the middle at 16 minutes. And this is one of those workouts where really understanding your heart rate, how it reacts to certain movements, will really benefit you in the long run and help you to understand how to better pace workouts. For most people, what would happen is they'll go out and they'll just go hard, right? And that'll last for about 7 to 8 minutes, right? When we see, if it's funny with like as coaches, if we look around the room at like a 7 to 8 minute mark during a workout, we see pretty much everyone kind of standing there, hands on their hips for the most part. And the reason is because we can work at like a VO2 max or like an all out capacity for about 7, maybe 8 to 9 minutes, right? So if we don't understand how to control our pacing and how to hold back a little bit, it's going to be very easy for you to burn out in the first half of this workout, which would make the second half of this workout very difficult for you. All right. So for the 1,000 meter row, if you can complete this in around about 4, maybe 5-ish minutes while keeping your heart rate around that 70 to 80%, that's great. Do the 1,000 meter row as it's written. If you're going to struggle to finish the 1,000 meter row within that 4 to 5 minutes, I'd rather see you just row at a 4 minute pace, whatever that is to you, and then hop off and transition to the box jumps. The fittest people will probably get like 3+ rounds during this. And when we say fittest, like that's always who we build workouts for. But if we like scale and we coach correctly, everybody should get 3+ rounds depending on the modifications that you use for it, right? So if we're looking at that row and we're saying like, okay, that's going to take 4 minutes. Well, if we're going to get 3 rounds, 12 minutes of this workout is just going to be straight rowing, which leaves you another 4 minutes to get through the box jumps and the pull-ups, right? So just to kind of give you an idea of like where we're coming up with, hey, if you can't finish this 1,000 meter row, let's just row for at a 4 minute pace and then transition to that next movement. After the row, you'll go into 20 box jumps. These can be box jumps or step ups. Again, ideally find a pace that isn't going to completely spike your heart rate, although it's hard to not allow that to happen when we introduce any sort of jumping movement to the equation. So that's one of the things to keep in mind, like while you're pacing yourself on the row, right? If we're on a row and we notice that our heart rate is already 85% plus, what do we think is going to happen when we start to go through the box jumps, right? There's not going to be any rest there. Our heart rate's just going to spike up into that 90, 95%, where we're going to be redlining and have a lot of difficulty with the rest of the workout, right? So think about holding yourself back a bit on the row so that you have wiggle room with your heart rate when you get to the box jumps. For the pull ups, 10 isn't a ton of volume. However, you choose to, ideally, you'll probably break these up into like no more than 3 sets. Two would be ideal. I mean, well, Vincent would probably say unbroken would be ideal. To me, 2 sets would be really great, but let's not go any more than 3. If you're someone who is really starting to get the handle on push on kipping pull-ups, I would say I would challenge you to just do one good set each round and not allow your body to have any bad reps, right? So if you know that you can do 4 to 5 pull-ups unbroken and then you start going into singles or doubles, do your 4 to 5 and then transition to something that's going to continue to build strength in your pull-ups, right? Whatever that is for you. Maybe that's a heavy dumbbell bent over row. Maybe that is a banded pull-up. Maybe that is a inverted ring row. Just no jumping pull-ups. All right. That's the one thing we don't want really anytime we're doing pull-ups for the most part anymore, because you don't get the upper body strength development that we're looking for because you're mostly utilizing your legs there. Right. So again, for the 16-minute AMRAP, it is a 1,000 meter row. If you're not going to finish that 1,000 meter row while keeping your heart rate between that 70 to 80%, ideally like 70 to 75%, just go out at a 4-minute pace, right, and record your distance each round. After that, you'll hop off and do the 20 box jumps or step ups, probably no more than 60 to 75 seconds on those box jumps, and then complete the pull ups however you see fit.